MiniWarGaming rules you got wrong.
Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Rules You Got Wrong, Warhammer Fantasy Edition, where I'm going to go over a couple of comments for rules I got wrong, and I think it was Trifling Treachery and the game in the vault right afterwards. So in the Trifling Treachery game with myself, Colin, and Luca, it was Old World Wars episode 143. In combat at 52 minutes and 24 seconds, you say that Oil Slick cancels out hatred. I realize that two abilities combined mean that you're rerolling every single die in an attack, and in theory would cancel out, but it doesn't really in practice. For example, when Cullen rolled the priest attacks, he could have rerolled the misses, getting another hit, and then you'd be forced to reroll the first hit, which could then have had a hit again. Therefore, he would have been better off overall if he had played with all the rerolls. But I understand that you probably did this for time purposes. Not done for time purposes. In the rulebook, it very specifically says a die can only ever be rerolled once. So when you have two abilities that are forcing a reroll on a die, they cancel each other out. So it wasn't done for time or clarity or speed. It was actually the rules. A die can only ever be rerolled once, so they do cancel each other out. Bloodshot says, sorry Steve, pulling another rule on you. Savage Beast wouldn't affect Pegasus Knight Champion, as he is not a character. He is part of a command group. If you look at the profiles, it states next to unit type if they're a character. You're right. I actually have to go back and check this. I just naturally assumed champions are still characters. I think the last time they were characters would have been 5th edition. They might have been characters in 6th. That's a long time ago. And that's a lot of years. I just assumed they were characters, and that's a mistake on my part. That's not to play other editions, but that was a really long time ago. So it's something I should have caught quite a long time ago, actually. But I guess it doesn't really come up unless it's the spells that target only characters, which Savage Beast did. So yeah, you caught me. You're right. Also, he says, for 3 players, you generate a card in a 5+. If you roll a 6, it's a roll of 6 for 4 players. So in Trifling Treachery, with multiple players, whoever's a neutral player for a turn can roll a die and get an extra special ability card. And we had a 3-player game, it's a 5-up roll, and we played it as if it was a 6. So yeah, you're right about that one. Cristobal says, Warrior Priest magic is 5-up ward in close combat, not reroll armor saves. You're right. I think what happened there is, we kind of all know that. It just, in the moment, in the excitement, Colin just said reroll armor saves. It's just the second save. I think their armor save was like a 6+ anyway. So yeah, it's a 5-up ward. It was just misspoken. Pellador says, hey Steve, don't forget your Bretonian warhorses are weapon skill 3 versus skeletons weapon skill 2. Helps the whole rubber lance syndrome that Bretonian players have. You're right. I always forget, and I even have a Vampire army. I always forget skeletons are weapon skill 2. So yeah, my horses have been hitting a little bit better and probably did more than my lances. Now we get Empire versus Vampire Counts Old World Wars episode 144. This is when Colin and Luke are playing each other. Unless it's FAQ, you only hit one ridden, sorry, I'm going to read this again. Unless they FAQ'd it, you can only hit one model on a ridden character model. On a 5+, it hits the rider, otherwise the mount. Page 104 of the rulebook. Yes, that's talking for template weapons. It was a cannonball, which very specifically says in the cannonball section that when a cannonball bounces over a monster ridden by a character, they are both hit by the cannon, and thus both taking the wounds. So that's it. That's this week's episode of Rules You Got Wrong, Warhammer Fantasy Edition. Thanks for helping out. Happy wargaming.